Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Just Another Talk. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about Ryan Hinton and Rodney Hinton Jr. And if you guys didn't know, Ryan Hinton was an 18-year-old kid who was in a stolen vehicle with three other males. They were chased down by police. They jumped out of the vehicle to run. As they're running, Ryan ends up dropping what looks like from the still images is a gun. He then proceeds to keep running. As the police yell, "Stop," he has a gun, and about 6 seconds later, after the police officer gets on scene, Ryan is shot and killed. I've seen as many angles as I can. I've seen a lot of the still pictures that they showed as well of the incident from the press conference. As much as I look at all these people who are defending him as well, I can't necessarily justify his actions, but I can also say with all certainty that I don't think he needed to be killed for what he did. As you know, the key phrase was used in this situation that all police officers use in these kinds of situations. I felt threatened for my life.
He was in like a bladed position, and it was pointed at the officer, and he felt threatened for his life, and that's why he discharged his firearm.
So he needed to use whatever force was necessary to stop the threat. I understand using whatever force was necessary to stop the threat, but the kid was running away. And the narrative painted by the news is that he pointed the gun at the police. In the still images and in the video, you can't see if he really pointed the gun at the police officer. You can imagine that while running, it can be perceived as, hey, he's pointing the gun at me. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't agree with the fact that you shoot and kill him. This situation is one of those situations where it's like the kid didn't deserve to die, and you just wish that police could show a little bit more restraint in certain situations than just immediately going to their weapon and essentially shooting at someone because they perceive a threat. The job of a police officer is inherently dangerous. It is the kind of job that you are in the front lines for all the crazy shit. You're the first line of defense to stop any criminal activity. Now, I'm not necessarily saying, hey, he needs to wait to get shot at. He needs to wait to be in a moment where he could get shot to shoot back. But there's got to be a better way to handle these situations. And ironically enough, as I say that, I want to show you guys this quick video and see what you think. Roll the clip.
Watch him pull an AR-15 on the highway patrol.
A driver pulled over for speeding pointed a rifle at a highway patrol officer yesterday. CHP says it happened just north of Reading on I-5. An officer stopped a vehicle on the Mountain Gate off-ramp. The driver, they say, got out of the car, pointed the AR-style assault rifle toward the officer. Officials say the suspect re-entered his vehicle and then they started pursuit. Vehicle continued southbound, driving at varying speeds before exiting the freeway at Oasis, continuing for about 2 miles west before stopping.
Now there you have a situation that is similar, but also very different. And the difference is the fact that there's intent in this second situation I just showed you. This man has an AR-15, he points it at the police officer, and the police officer does not shoot him. You're going to tell me in a situation where you have a suspect running from you, yes, you saw a gun, which by all means, you see in the slow-mo that he drops the gun when he falls right before the police officer crosses in front of the dumpster. So we don't know if he picked the gun back up or he left it there. But this is a situation where you have someone running away from you. You shoot him, you kill him, you claim threat to your life, and there's probably not going to be any kind of repercussions to this officer. Meanwhile, you have this other story that I just showed you where a man deliberately, intentfully points the gun at a police officer, and the police officer, instead of shooting him, decides to throw his car in reverse and back up. The guy gets back in his vehicle, he drives off, the chase continues until they finally arrest him and bring him to jail. Why couldn't they do that with Ryan? The only difference in these two scenarios, well, there's more than one, but the only differences in these two scenarios is the fact that Ryan was running away. There were also three other people in the car who also ran. And the third one is the fact that Ryan was a black kid. I really try to avoid to make things about race. I really do. I genuinely try to look at things objectively. I try to look at all sides of the coin. I try to understand each position, strongman each position, and debate each position. But in this situation, with the videos we have now, it only seems that the police officer was scared for his life because it was a black kid. Now, I want to be perfectly clear. I'm not condoning what Ryan was doing. I don't even support it. He shouldn't have been in a stolen vehicle. He shouldn't have had a gun. He should have stopped when they told him to stop. He should have laid on the ground. He should have left the gun in the car. There are a lot of other things he could have done to avoid putting himself in this predicament. And I'm completely okay with that thought process. I'm completely okay with that discussion. What I'm not okay with is how this ended. And then you compare it to the situation situation I showed you of this white man, not only did he get out of the car with an AR-15, he was able to get back in his car with the AR-15. Who knows how many magazines he had? Who knows what other stuff he had in his car? And they still took him alive? Why? These are the kind of questions we need to ask ourselves. These are the kind of things that we need to look into. This is a sad story. It's a horrible story. It shouldn't have ended like this. He shouldn't have been committing crimes to begin with, but it shouldn't have ended like this. And the plot only thickens from here on. After the family gets to see the body cam video of the officers, I believe it was the next day, like 24 hours later, Rodney Hinton Jr., the dad of Ryan, goes and runs over a retired police officer who was doing traffic control for a college. Nothing to do with the situation. What Rodney did was not only despicable, disgusting, it was retribution. I don't know how people can be okay with. This guy had nothing to do with it. He was retired. He was at a crosswalk. He was directing traffic. If you're gonna do something like this, why not hold accountable the guy who shot your son? Even that is a bad idea. And I can completely 100% understand that Rodney shouldn't have done anything. He shouldn't have grieved in this manner. But to go and take your anger out on someone who, one, is not ready, not expecting it, two, had nothing to do with the situation, is pretty low. I don't care how many black folks in my DMs leave comments, say, oh, Uncle Tom, you like this, I don't care. That shit's crazy. Not to mention the fact that Rodney then walks into the courtroom, head held high, smirking. All of these things shine a negative light on us, black folks. Because they lump us all together and say, look at that. Look at all the people supporting him. Look at all the people that want this to happen. I think the people that are supporting him are a select minority. And that is an outrageous take. To say an eye for an eye, this is not an eye for an eye. The father of Rodney spoke at the press conference, and he said a few things that I agree with. But he also didn't address the fact that his son murdered somebody who was innocent, and then his grandson was doing something completely and totally illegal. Not only that, but then his grandma gets up to speak, and she states, oh, black people shouldn't be killed like this. You should understand our culture. This is not our culture. Being in the streets, robbing from people, carrying a gun, doing illegal shit, shooting at each other, stealing from each other, that's not black culture. That's bullshit. That's what that is. And anybody who condones either of these actions are part of the problem as well. I think this is one of the biggest reasons why our community is shattered. When a black person does something bad, it's always free him. He doesn't deserve this. Justice for this guy. He was committing a crime. What do you mean? We need to hold the people accountable when they're doing shit the wrong way. And we need to uplift the people who are doing things the right way. And that's the only way we get out of this ridiculous loop. I can't believe that there are people out there stating, oh, I'm going to support his GoFundMe. I don't. That thought process is ludicrous to me. Like I said earlier, I can understand when we look at Ryan's situation and him being shot and killed, I can understand being upset at that, especially after watching the video and seeing that he was trying to run away. I'm on board with that part. But what Rodney did was not only wrong, but it's extremely disgusting. And it shines a light on all of us. We all get lumped together. And it's not until we start taking a stand as a culture and saying, we don't agree with this side of shit. This is stuff that's not us. Until we do that, we're always going to have problems. Now, there are going to be people who are going to say, oh, there's so many other nuances with this. You're not talking about the social economic status of black folks. You're not talking about all the things that hold us down and blah, 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 and all this other shit. And there might be some points there. I won't completely dismiss that train of thought. But as somebody who grew up in not the best neighborhood, single parent home, I didn't make the best decisions always, but I chose to learn from the decisions. I chose to do things better. And that's what we need to focus on. We could be better. I really hope that people who look at black culture who are not black can understand that this is not what we all want. This is not what we all believe in. This is not how we all act. It's a sad situation, and it's a horrible thing that happened on both sides. From this kid at 18 years old, stealing cars, running around with guns, all the way to his dad running over a police officer who had nothing to do with the situation. There is an investigation being done by the police for the shooting. I think they're not gonna find anything. I think they're gonna justify the shooting. I don't agree with that side of things, but we know most times in situations like this, that's what happens. And then you have his dad going and killing a retired police officer. Yeah, they're probably gonna not only throw the book at him, they might not conduct a thorough investigation on the shooting of his son. I don't think all police are bad. I understand they have a tough job, but there's gotta be a way that we can repair this relationship between black folks and the police officer. There's gotta be a way we can make the situation better and stop making it worse. These narratives bounced around online also don't help. But with that, I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Ryan was pointing his gun at the police officer? Do you think that the police officer should have shot Ryan? What do you think about what his dad did? What kind of dad does that mean that he was for Ryan if he went and got this kind of retribution? Let us know in the comments. And until next time.